amongst the 6 Goswamis? Rupa. Anyone else? Raghunath Das Goswami. Anyone else? Gopal Bhatta? Gopal Bhatta? Sanatana? There's only 2 left. Don't put your finger in your mouth. Excuse me. We're training you up. Don't be embarrassed. Okay. Sanatana Goswami. What are them? Let's hear 3 different things that you know about Sanatana Goswami. 1. Raise your hand. Something that you know about Sanatana Goswami. Yes. Sambandha Tattva Acharya. Our youngsters in the front row. Do you know what that means? No idea, right? Do you know what that means? Sambandha Tattva Acharya, you know. He's the teacher, Acharya, about Sambandha Tattva. Sambandha means relationship, and Tattva means the truths about the relationship of all things with their source of emanation, Krishna. So he is the Acharya, and his deity is the predominating deity of that same Tattva. Who is the deity of Sanatana Goswami? Raise your hand. Don't just say it. Madan Mohan. Here's a bonus question. I'm just kind of trying to get everybody focused because it's been kind of spacey this afternoon. There's another name for Madan Mohan. And that other name for Madan Mohan is? Madan Gopal. Madan Gopal. Do you know that the mantra that was received by Gopakumar from his guru was known as the Madan Gopal mantra? Did you know that? Commonly, in our ISKCON practice, one of the mantras that's received at the time of brahminical initiation is the Gopal mantra, also known as the Madan Gopal mantra, and it's one of the standard mantras. And that's the mantra that Madan Gopal received, Gopakumar received from his guru, and which took him all the way to meet Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. I mean, many other things, but it wasn't a straight line. He visited many places on the way. And that book about Gopakumar's journey from being a cowherd boy to Goloka Vrindavan was written by Sanatana Goswami. And not only he wrote the book, but he wrote a commentary on the book. And in that book, the title of the book is Brihat Bhagavatamrita. He writes towards the very beginning about himself that the holy name is the greatest source of eternal pleasure and is my very life and ornament. So we heard this morning about the Guru as being the Atma of the Jiva, the soul and life and soul. And so is the Mahamantra, or the holy name of Krishna, is the ornament. So that an ornament is something that you might wear because it makes you look nice or something. But it's not, he doesn't wear it just because it makes him look nice. It is his ornament. Alankar, or some opulence. Right? Chapter 10, Bhagavad Gita. The opulences of the Absolute, and the opulence of Sanatana Goswami, the ornament of Sanatana Goswami is the holy name. It's his life. It's nothing else matches its importance to him. So some of you know the story about Sanatana Goswami and his touchstone. And even if you've heard it 100 times, hear it 101 times, it's just fine. Sanatana Goswami was living in different places. It's said about all the 6 Goswamis, they lived under a different tree every night. They didn't have like a mailing address, what to speak of a cell phone number. They just slept under a different tree. Sometimes they had a cottage or a bhajan kutir place where they stayed for some time and then moved to another place and then to another place. So one time he was living, like you saw, let's go back to see that little cottage in the back. So he was living in one of those little cottages, and one in Vrindavan, a poor Brahmana was unable to maintain his family. And he thought, I heard that Sanatana Goswami has a touchstone. And I believe that Sanatana Goswami is very kind and very charitable. So I have nothing to lose. Let me go ask Sanatana Goswami if he'll give in charity to a Brahmana his touchstone. So what's a touchstone? A touchstone, there's different touchstones, but this one is one that is a kind of special mystical stone that you touch it to base metal and it becomes gold. So the Brahmin went to pay his respects to Sanatana Goswami. The senior most, this is another detail, the senior most of all the Goswamis, including Rupa Goswami, who we look up to as the senior most, but he looked up to his elder brother as his guru, like his guru, Diksha Guru. And so he went to Sanatana Goswami's little cottage and asked Sanatana Goswami with his palms folded, can you kindly, I'm so poor, I can't maintain my family. I heard that you have a touchstone. May I ask you for your touchstone in charity? Sanatana Goswami said, sure, it's yours, take it. The man said, where will I find it? Over there in the rubbish pile. And the man looked in the rubbish pile, and sure enough, there was the touchstone. He was astonished. He went home. One of his few possessions, we had an old iron pot, the vessel for holding water because they didn't have running water in sinks and things. Just had a little iron pot with some holes in it. So he took the touchstone and touched it to the iron pot, and it turned into gold. And he thought, wow. Then he found some other utensils that his wife used for cooking, touched the touchstone, and it became gold. His problem of being unable to maintain his family is now taken care of. But he's a Brahmana, so he put 2 and 2 together and came up with 4. He said to himself, if he has this touchstone that's so valuable in a rubbish pile, he must have something more valuable. Maybe if I go and ask him for that something that's more valuable, he'll be very charitable and give that to me also. Let me try my luck. He went back, told Sanatana Goswami what happened, and said, because you kept this in the rubbish pile, it must be that you have something more valuable. Do you have something more valuable? And Sanatana Goswami said, sure, far more valuable. And the Brahmin said, can you give that to me in charity? And Sanatana Goswami said, sure. Only one thing. What's that? take the touchstone, go to the Jamuna River and throw it into the river. And then I'll give you the most valuable thing. The Brahmin looked at the touchstone. He looked at Sanatana Goswami. He looked at the touchstone. He looked at Sanatana. He had all faith. Sanatana Goswami was a perfectly honest person. He has something more valuable than this, and that's a condition. So he threw it into the river Jamuna. And the touchstone was the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And in ISKCON, we've probably all heard this many, many times. If you're hearing this for the first time, get used to hearing it because it's a popular story. And it's true. It's far more valuable than anything. And one of the things to get that which is more valuable than anything is to let go of attachment to the expectation for happiness through material acquisition, gold or anything. Here's a photograph of a place when Sanatana Goswami there. It was a grass hut, but it was by the side of Manasi Ganga. Where's Manasi Ganga? Manasi Ganga is about midway down the eastern side of Govardhan Hill. Someday, if you haven't already been there hundreds of times, may you all go there. That's a blessing. May you all go there and do your parikrama around Govardhan Hill. I know a family that's going to Vrindavan for 4 days, and their main reason for going there is to go around Govardhan Hill. Krishna Balaram Mandir and other places, but Govardhan Hill, it's a must. It's a must. Govardhan. So, Manasi Ganga has some nice history. At one time, long, long ago, during Krishna's pastimes, it was a large lake that flowed a long distance and a wonderful pastime. I won't go into the pastime because I want to stay with Sanatana Goswami. But it's a Krishna Leela with the gopis, and the gopis wanted to cross the lake, Manasi Ganga, and they couldn't find a boat, and they found an old boat with holes in it. And a little black fellow who was the boatman, that was Krishna disguised, and they got on the boat, and he started charging them their milk products, and he got there's many nice pastime at Manasi Ganga. Also at Manasi Ganga is a place called Chakra Tirtha. Chakra, like Sudarshan Chakra. It's said, there's different versions, but it's said that when this inundation of rain was coming down and everything was flooded, it didn't go under the Govardhan Hill, but everything was flooded. Why didn't it go under Govardhan Hill? One explanation is Krishna sent his Sudarshan Chakra to go around and around and around and around and around and around. And the Sudarshan Chakra can be very hot. It just evaporated all the water underneath Govardhan Hill. And at the end of those 7 days, Sudarshan Chakra was tired. He wanted to take rest. So the place where he took rest is this place, Chakra Tirtha. So, because it was a wonderful place of Radha Krishna pastimes, and specifically connected to the Govardhan Leela, the Govardhan lifting of Govardhan Hill, he made a little cottage. Now it's this little marble place. But inside that place, you see the 2 double doors, is this painting of Sanatana Goswami, because for some periods of time, he stayed here in a little grass hut and engaged in chanting. You see in the background by the side of Manasi Ganga. However, during certain seasons where there's water, water becomes a breeding place for mosquitoes, and the mosquitoes became too much. Now, nearby was Chakaleshwara Mahadev, and in Chakaleshwara Tirtha. as you see in the text here, it's one of 5 Kshetrapal. Kshetra, Pal means to protect. It's the protector of the holy Dham. And this is one of the 5 Shivalingas in the whole of Vrindavan that's the protector of the holy Dham, and specifically this place by Govardhan Hill. So as you see, this is what it looks like during the daytime, 5 Shivalingas, and here's what it looks like at nighttime. And many people come and offer flowers and worship Lord Shiva. And here's what Lord Shiva looks like, the Shivalingas look like during a festival time. And because it was the breeding time for mosquitoes, Sanatana Goswami was too much disturbed. And so he thought, he didn't say anything because just living alone. He thought, I think I should leave. It's too disturbing for my bhajan. Tomorrow I'll leave. That evening, when Sadhu came, and later he understood this was Lord Shiva, he said, please don't leave. I enjoy your company here too much. I'll make arrangements so that the mosquitoes won't bother you anymore. He said, okay. It is said that from that day until today, mosquitoes don't go there. The benediction of Lord Shiva. So Sanatana Goswami stayed because Lord Shiva wanted his association. And this is the very same place, Chakaleshwara Tirtha, this Bhajan Kutir place, is where Sanatana Goswami left this world. Because he liked Govardhan Hill. He liked many things. He liked the holy name, but he liked Govardhan Hill. And even in his old age, he liked doing circumambulation around Govardhan Hill, but it became more and more difficult as he got older and older. And so one fine day, Krishna came and said to Sanatana Goswami, you're walking around Govardhan Hill, but there's no need to walk around Govardhan Hill. I'll make this arrangement. Seen in the painting, in the background is Govardhan Hill. Here's the Govardhan Shila, and I'll place my foot on Govardhan Shila and my stick for controlling the cows on that Shila, and a hoof print of one of the cows on that Shila, and you just circumambulate this 7 times every day, and it's as good as circumambulating Govardhan Hill. And so he did. Here's another painting of the same. And when Sanatana Goswami left this world, his body was taken by the Brijvasis in procession to the Madan Mohan temple, and in the back of the Madan Mohan temple, his samadhi was placed. And to his day, that's where his body was placed. And this Shila that you see was taken to another place. It was taken to the Radha Damodar temple. Radha Damodar temple because Jiva Goswami, the youngest of the 3, Sanatan, Rupa, and Jiva, he was surviving. And Jiva Goswami, was very expert in deity worship. And so they knew the deity would be taken care of very nicely. So those of you that visit Vrindavan someday, and you go to the Radha Damodar temple, you can ask the pujari, can you show me this Shila of Govardhan? And for a couple of rupees, they'll pull away the cloth and show you the Shila. It's quite large, Shila. That's the intimacy of Sanatana Goswami with Krishna. And there's an intimacy between Sanatana Goswami and the holy name. One of his writings is Sri Krishna Lila Stava. Stava means prayers. Here's one in relation to the holy name. Oh, Lord Krishna, at the present moment, your holy names are flowing from my mouth. Oh, Lord, perhaps at some time You will enable me to remember your lotus feet within my heart. There's a similar, not the same, but very similar verse by Rupa Goswami in Vedanta Madhava about the holy name appearing in the courtyard of the heart, where the mind becomes stunned, etc. It's a poetic expression of his relationship and experience with the holy name. Have a seat, Prabhu. Thanks a lot. Okay, so Hari Bhakti Vilas is another one of his compositions. What's the Hari Bhakti Vilas? Just the other morning, we were hearing about the process of worship of Krishna as performed according to the Tantras. Tantra means a book about procedures. Someone was asking me after the evening class, what's these terms are very like sounding. Mantra, yantra, and tantra. What do they mean? Mantra is sound, tantra is procedure, and yantra is a wheel or two-dimensional depiction of that which is of the spiritual world. Yantra. Yantra literally means machine. Like yantra rudhani mayaya from Bhagavad Gita. Yantra. This body is a yantra, it's a machine made of material energy. So, machine or a depiction. In the terms of worship, it's a depiction of the spiritual realm in a two-dimensional form. So, he, Sanatana Goswami, published Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's said about Hari Bhakti Vilas, we discussed this the other morning. It was actually compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami when he was very young, while he was remaining in Sri Rangam with his father and mother. And when his father and mother became very old, they gave him permission, which was Lord Chaitanya's instruction, to stay with them until the right time came. They sent him to Vrindavan, Gopal Bhatta. Gopal Bhatta had this massive writing describing tantras, or the procedures, not only for worship, but procedures for everything. Vaishnava procedures for what we just, Diksha. Vaishnava procedures for sannyas. Vaishnava procedures for observing Janmashtami. Vaishnava procedures for Ekadasi. Vaishnava procedures for deity worship. Vaishnava procedures for how to do things. It's a how-to manual. Gopal Bhatta gave it to Sanatana Goswami and said, please put this in a nice, organized, publishable form with one condition, don't mention my name. So he didn't. But that's what Hari Bhakti Vilas is. So it's often attributed to Sanatana Goswami as the author, but more precisely, they're both authors. And here's something that he writes in the introduction to Hari Bhakti Vilas, quoting from Padma Purana. Whatever one sees in this world is governed by the Supreme Lord. He is everywhere. He is present in this universe in the form of holy places. Now, there's a lengthy section in Hari Bhakti Vilas about the merit of visiting holy places. I mean, the scriptures are filled with it. This place, that place, the other place, the benefit, halastuti, of going to that place. And when he finishes that section, he writes, none of the holy places existing have ever been better, nor will they ever be better than the holy name of the Lord. So if you weren't able to go to Vrindavan this Kartik month, maybe you'll go next year. And if you don't go next year, maybe you'll go the next year. And if you don't go at all, if you have the holy name, that's better, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is Sanatana Goswami's composition. And In Brihat Bhagavatamrita, there's two little passages I'm going to make reference to. There's a passage, very short, and it's in his commentary, it's not in the verse itself, about Namabas. So we're speaking about the glories of the holy name. What's Namabas? What does Abbas mean? Abbas. Say it. I can't hear you. It's not contamination. Abbas means shadow or reflection. Shadow or reflection. Abbas. Nam and Namabas. Shuddha Nam and Namabas. So the kind of chanting that we do generally is Namabas. It's the holy name, but it's not the pure holy name. It's a shadow or reflection of. So in describing, it's said in scriptures abundantly, Namabas is sufficient to remove all reactions of sins. I'll say it again. What to speak of Shuddha Nam, Namabas is capable of removing, wiping out, cleaning away all reactions of past sins. It doesn't take away the tendency, but the reactions of past sins. So in this glorification, he makes reference, Sanatana Goswami makes reference to a passage from Varaha Purana, which means he's supporting its veracity. There's a description of a Brahmana who is taking his sacred bath in a holy river. And while he was taking his bath, he was chanting the holy names. And while he was taking his bath in the river, the tiger came. And the tiger was hungry. And the tiger decided to eat the Brahmana. But just as he was about to pounce on the Brahmana, a hunter came and shot the tiger. The tiger died, and the soul of the tiger was lifted in a Vaikuntha Vimana to the spiritual realm because he was just hearing the chanting of the Brahmana. He makes reference to this as one of the categories of Namabas. And another that he makes reference to is found in Nrsimha Purana. And in Nrsimha Purana, there's a long description, but I'll just summarize it. Hiranyakashipu had decided to go to the forest, engage in extensive austerities so he could conquer the universe. The demigods were in big anxiety. They knew his intention, and they knew he was capable of fulfilling his intention. And so they went to Narada Muni and one other sage and said, help, do something. So they said, sure. So they went to the forest where Hiranyakashipu was engaged in austerities, and appearing like a bird to rishis, they started chanting Narayana's name. Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. This agitated Hiranyakashipu too much. So it interrupted his austerities. He picked up a stone and threw it at the birds, and they flew away. And then he tried to engage in his meditation. They came back, and again chanted Om Namo Narayanaya so many times. He stopped. And he decided this is no good. So he went back to his palace. And when he went back to this is from the Nrsimha Purana. When he went back to his palace, Kayadu was very surprised. What are you doing back? You went to do these austerities so you can get all these powers. And he said, what happened? And he repeated the mantra that he heard many times. And that evening was the evening that he and his wife conceived Prahlad. So This Nrsinga Purana expresses Prahlad was born as a result of Helana Namabas of Hiranyakashipu. He wasn't intending to glorify Narayan. He was just repeating his disturbed mind when he heard that sound Om Namo Narayanaya so many times in the forest. Nrsinga Purana. And it's meant to illustrate, some of you are familiar, there's different categories of Namabas. Laughter, derision, scorn, unintentional, neglectful. This is one of them, Helena, Namabas. But it's still Nam, just not Chutanam. This is a writing of Sanatana Goswami. Of course, he's drawing from the scriptures to explain Namabas. In the morning discussion, we spoke a little bit about Chutanam. And in Chutanam, there's two nice descriptions found in Bhakti Ratnakar in relation to Sanatana Goswami about the chanting of the holy name. So one of those narrations is very nice. Bhakti Ratnakar is Narahari Chakravarti. He's a personality, I mentioned this in the morning. He's a personality that wrote biographies about the followers of Lord Chaitanya after Lord Chaitanya's departure. Because Chaitanya Charitamrita describes during his life, or what happened after his life. So here's two stories. One story is Shuddhanam, and the chanting of the holy name, when chanted purely, just as we heard from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's description, from Nama comes Rupa. Krishna may, in the case of Rupa Goswami, he regularly revealed his form and qualities and pastimes. So one day at Radhakund, Rupa Goswami was absorbed in chanting. And he was so absorbed in chanting that a pastime of Krishna was being enacted within his heart. And the pastime of Krishna was the gopis were engaged very playfully with Krishna, and there was some joking language back and forth between Krishna and Radha and the other gopis. And Bhakti Ratnakar doesn't describe what that Leela was, but he found it so joy-filled that he began laughing. So internally, he was participating in the pastime internally, but also his body began laughing. Just as he was laughing externally, a very old sadhu passed by. And he was lame, he couldn't walk properly, and the sadhu was shocked. He thought, Rupa Goswami is supposed to be such an exalted sadhu. Why is he laughing at me? I can't walk properly, and he's laughing at me. His mind became disturbed. Later that day, he went to see Sanatana Goswami, who was also, as the place that you saw before, he was at Chakaleshwara Tirtha. And he explained what happened that day. I was just walking by and your brother was laughing at me because I'm old and lame. Like the complaint department. And so Sanatana Goswami says, I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. So the Brahmin was satisfied. Later the same day, Rupa Goswami went to see his brother because regularly Rupa Goswami would take his writings and have his brother look at it and make comments and edit and whatever he wanted to do. So he came to see him and he told him what happened. Today, I was engaged in such absorbed chanting that a wonderful pastime of Radha and Krishna appeared in my mind. And it was so joyful, but all of a sudden my meditation broke. And try, I couldn't re-enter into that meditation. And so Sanatana Goswami did quick math calculation and said, here's the reason why. Because when you were having joy-filled experience of Radha and Krishna's pastimes, you were laughing, and a Brahmin passed by and thought you were laughing at him, and he felt offended. Because he felt offended, your meditation was interrupted. Oh, really? I wasn't laughing at him. It was just a joyful pastime appearing in my heart. Sanatana Goswami said, go find the Brahmana, explain to him, and I'm sure everything will be all right. So Rupa Goswami did that. And sure enough, when Rupa Goswami found the Brahmana and told him everything, the Brahmana held his head and said, oh no, how could I think that you could do such a bad thing as making fun of an old man who can't walk straight? I should be apologizing to you. And they embraced and everything was nice. Now, the Bhakti Ratnakar describes this as a consequence of offense to a Brahmana, even unintentional. Unknowing and unintentional, still there's reaction. At least in case of Rupa Goswami, who's as far up as you can get, the uninterrupted meditation on the personality of Godhead is interfered with by even unintentionally someone who's a Brahmana, qualified Brahmana, taking offense at something you say and do. So be very careful. That's the message of Bhakti Ratnakar. It's in relation to Sanatana Goswami. There's one more very nice pastime that's described in Bhakti Ratnakar. I'll just narrate it quickly. The place where in by the side of not Manasi Ganga, but by the side of Radhakund was another place where there's a deity of Madan Mohan and a little place where Sanatana Goswami would do his bhajan kutir. And when you go to that place, one day you probably go to that place, when you're doing circumambulation around Radhakund Shamakund, it's on the Shamakund side. From where he stayed, you can see over directly across the Shamakund, and over there is Radhakund. That was his place. And one day, as he was being visited by Rupa Goswami asked him, please look at my writing and see what you think of it, if it needs to be some changes. So he one day, he read, and Rupa Goswami came back and he said, everything was nice except you described the braid of Radha as being like a snake down her back. And I don't think that was so nice. Maybe you can find some other comparison. So Rupa Goswami took it to heart because it's coming from Sanatana Goswami. And he took his manuscript and went back. And then later in the day, it was time for Sanatana Goswami to take his bath at Shamakund. But as he was walking back and back and back in the courtyard there, on the other side, there's a set of steps where the gopis would sometimes, during Krishna's leelas, they would take their bath at Shamakund. He saw some young Brijbasi girls taking their bath by those same steps. However, he was panic-stricken when he saw what to him looked like a serpent climbing up the back of one of the girls. So he called out very loudly, "Look out! There's a serpent climbing up your back." And the young gopi turned, looked at Sanatana Goswami and smiled, and poof, they all just disappeared. A pastime was revealed before his eyes. Later, Rupa Goswami came to visit him again, and he said, you know that passage about the braid looking like a serpent climbing up Radharani's back? That was the best part. I like it. Leave it. Bhakti Ratnakar. Nice description. The elevated personalities mainly ask them, because it's in their writings, it's their relationship with the holy name. It means everything to them. Here's another passage, again from Brihat Bhagavatamrita. One can reach perfection by honoring even a blade of grass, provided one sees within it the presence of the Supreme Lord, or by just once uttering or hearing even a faint semblance, that's namabhas, of the Lord's name. Now, we don't worship grass. We worship deities, but supposing one is on this topmost stage, Uttama Adhikari stage, and they see everything in relation to Krishna. So to see everything in relation to Krishna, there's the super soul within that blade of grass. There's a jiva, and there's also the super soul. Provided one sees anything, everything, in relation to the Supreme Lord. Or just the semblance of hearing the holy name. So this is, again, a namabhas glorification. Brihat Bhagavatamrita Part 4, or Part 2, Chapter 4. This is a nice image I like. It's namabhas. This is, again, meaning there's a lotus and the reflection of the lotus on the surface of water. And the reflection is moving because often water moves, although the lotus might not be moving. So the abhas form of the holy name is a reflection of the name. And generally that's where we dwell, in the namabhas stage. Here's what Sanatana Goswami writes about namabhas. Whatever sins one has acquired presently, in the past, or in the future, all are turned into ashes by chanting the fiery name of Govinda. He liked chanting. And he liked writing about chanting, and he liked encouraging others to chant. Here's another reference from Hari Bhakti Vilas. If, with a pleasing attitude, any person chants the holy name of Govinda, he is glorified, purified, and he helps the whole world to be liberated. And that painting, it's Sanatana Goswami writing, and in the background, that says Madan Mohan deity. And in some cases, he kept the deity hanging from his neck on a little sack. Sometimes he put on the branch of a tree. And here the painting is showing in a little place where there's just some stones on either side. Because he didn't have any affluence. He just had bhakti. And Madan Mohan, there's a story of how Madan Mohan chose to become worshipped by him. So, nice story. Here's further. So this is Hari Bhakti Vilas, number 11, 349. Here's number 11, 315, where he writes, in both Vishnu Dharma Purana and Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, Narada Muni says, because you are attracted to the Lord's holy name, you are all very pure in heart. When the holy name rises in one's heart, it shines like the sun and shakes away all darkness. There's many, in Hari Bhakti Vilas, it's a how-to manual, and he writes extensively. Here's about the chanting of the name. Here's another reference from Nrsimha Purana. Interesting. When all the residents of hell chanted the holy name of Lord Krishna, they attained love for him. At once they left hell and they went to the planets of the demigods. Now that hadn't come to Shuddhanam, because now they have a different destination, but from hell to the demigod realm, that's a pretty big jump. And another reference, the holy name takes one to Sri Vaikuntha Loka. This is a reference in Hari Bhakti Vilas from Linga Purana, where Lord Shiva is discussing with Narada Muni. A person who, while walking, sitting, sleeping, eating, and breathing, always chants, even casually or disrespectfully, those are types of namabhas, the holy names of Lord Vishnu, defeats the age of Kali, regains his original spiritual form, becomes a great devotee, and goes to the spiritual world. Very powerful, very merciful manifestation of the Supreme Lord. Even if not done perfectly, what to speak of striving and striving and striving to chant perfectly. Almost done. This is the second to the last. This is an illustration from Brihat Bhagavatamrita Part 2, where this young boy, Gopal Kumar, is receiving his Madan Gopal mantra from his guru. He doesn't even know his guru's name, but he sees qualities in his guru that really inspires him. And he asks the guru if he can initiate him into the chanting of the holy name, and he does. And from that chanting of the holy name, he experiences all kinds of higher consciousness places. One of those higher consciousness places he goes to is Tapaloka. So this is just a simple illustration of cosmology, where you see the earthly realm, that's Bhuloka in the middle, and then six planetary systems above, including Brahmaloka at the very, very top, and then 7 planetary systems below, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, etc. So in the course of his chanting of the Madan Gopal mantra, he ended up, one of the places he ended up is what you see at the very top, Tapaloka. Can you read it? There's different platforms or realms. So Tapaloka is a platform where they do tapa, and it's rishis like the 4 Kumaras and brahmacharis, lifelong celibates that reside there. And one of the things they primarily like to do, is meditation. So when Gopal Kumar makes it to meditation, they explain to him the benefits and the power, the effectiveness of meditation. And they train him up. And he really likes it. He really likes it. He's thinking, maybe this is it. But after some time, because he continues chanting his Gopal mantra, he doesn't want to stop there. There's a very nice verse in purport where he says, I will be ungrateful. He's thinking to himself, I will be ungrateful if I have received this precious gift and I have yet to experience the fullness of this gift, what it has to offer. I can't be ungrateful. So I have to keep chanting, because they're saying that there's like a long section. Why are you chanting? Because after all, the benefit of chanting is you see the Lord within, but we see the Lord within without chanting. So get with it and just do meditation with us. And he likes it. He feels something. There's some benefit. But after some time, he says, no, I have to take shelter of the holy name. That was the instruction from my guru. And lo and behold, descending from the upper realm beyond this universe are Vaikuntavasis. And the Vaikuntavasis, there's a nice section. I think I'd like to read from that section. Chapter 3. Should I have that when you get pulled out? There were 1,000 pages. What? Thank you. This is our conclusion for this class. So just bear with me. So starting with the Brihat Bhagavatamrita Part 2, Chapter 3, starting with text 147, just a few texts. This is the Vaikuntha-vasis helping Gopakumar to reconfirm his chanting is more important than anything. Superior bhakti in the form of remembering, they think, the meditators, appears within the mind, which is true. That turbulent, frightful, and mighty chief of all the senses, when, by serious efforts, the mind has been brought under control and fully purified. That's the Tapaloka personalities. But we consider chanting to be alone the most excellent form of bhakti, better than remembering, which appears only in one's turbulent heart. For chanting harnesses not only the faculty of speech, which it engages directly, but also the mind and the sense of hearing. And chanting helps not only the person practicing, but others as well. If the sense of speech, which sets all the external and internal senses in motion, is brought under constant control, then the mind becomes stable and can properly engage in transcendental remembrance of the Lord. They're advocating remembrance. The Vaikuntha-vasis are advocating chanting, and the remembrance will follow. No worries. Same thing Bhaktisiddhanta said. No need to extraneously engage in the meditation process or the Lila Smarana process. Just engage in chanting. With absorption, of course. But when absorption is there, the remembrance follows. Remembrance thus develops as the fruit of chanting. Of the many ways to chant Krishna's glories, foremost is his Nama Sankirtan. It is deemed the best because it can evoke at once the treasure of pure love for Krishna. When relished with love in countless ways through service rendered constantly by the tongue, the nectar of Krishna's name delights the heart. So it goes the tongue, the ear, the heart. Same as Rupa Goswami's writings, the Dagda Madhava. Who can describe the unequaled excellence of that nectar of Sri Krishna's holy name? 3 more verses and we're done. Though all names of the Lord are equally great, a devotee most quickly, most easily achieves his goals by chanting the name he himself holds most dear, which is something that we discussed yesterday morning. No, this morning. Krishna appears in the form according to our regard for him. We call the name, that's the name of our heart, and Krishna reciprocates accordingly. Bhakti, this is Sanatana Goswami's purport. If a devotee is especially attracted to a particular name, that name will most quickly and easily carry him to perfection. 2 more verses and that's it. The Sankirtan of Krishna's names is praised as the best and most powerful means to attain the treasure of Krishna Prema. It is like a potent mantra that can attract precious objects from a distance. By the power of bhakti, you will have many realizations, time and again, and for certain you will conquer your most formidable obstacles in all circumstances. Be assured, we are your helpers. So Krishna has sent these Vishnu Dutas to help Gopakumar complete his journey. And we're also getting nice association from Sanatana Goswami to help us complete our journey. Of course, there's work that we have to do, and that's the work of absorption in the holy name. And that's our topics about Sanatana Goswami, go back to the beginning. This is in the very early part of the whole Brihat Bhagavatamrita, where he's declaring openly, this is the greatest source of eternal pleasure in my life and ornament. So being followers in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means being a follower in the footsteps of the Goswamis, means taking full shelter in the holy name. We've organized and designed things for this weekend to enhance each of us, our ability to go there as close to there as we can. It's a great opportunity, so I hope you do well in your 64-round day tomorrow and thereafter. Let's see if there's some discussion. I'm looking at the clock. We got a late start because of technology glitches. You have something. Do you have a microphone? Go ahead. It's magical. It'll work. Just speak. Sir, just speak. See? Magic.
Hare Krishna. I think I just always get confused with the Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami name. But you're talking about, I think it is Rupa Goswami, but unknown offense that you just laugh. Actually, it is not his mistake.
That's right.
That is very.
That's why it got cleared very quickly.
Yeah. I don't know then what is our hope.
Oh, we're guaranteed we're going to offend people unknowingly. So you avoid offending people knowingly. At the same time, be aware, unknowingly, persons are going to be offended. What's your option? You can't go out of existence. That's not an option. But you exist, and some persons are going to feel. So you stay in a humble state of mind, and something comes on your radar screen that says you've offended someone or they're feeling offended. Take the proper action. You go to them. Now, supposing no one taps you on the shoulder and says, you know what, so-and-so over there is thinking that you offended them. Supposing that doesn't happen, now what to do? That's your question. That question was asked of Srila Prabhupada. And his answer was, therefore, every day we're instructed to chant, Krishna, the mantra went away. What's the mantra? Yes. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha. Not just mechanically, but meaningfully, because it's going to happen. We're going to say something, do something, or not to say something, do something, and people are going to feel offended. I'm looking at this little boy. He's getting a little restless. You did great this morning. Now you're a little restless. Okay. Anything else? Yes. Namapriya. We have a portable microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is actually from morning's class, where the explanation was given with chanting of the holy name, the Nama, Rupa, Guna and Leela becomes manifested. So what does the Guna manifestation look like?
Qualities.
But
his beauty, his smile, his munificence, his demeanor, his character, his qualities. In addition to his form, he has qualities.
So the chanter would start to feel that.
We know what it is conceptually, but that becomes revealed in one's heart. It may, if we become very fortunate, but you want to know what it is, not how to get there. It's his qualities. Guna, Nama, Rupa, Guna. his qualities, his characteristics.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. So, time to end. We'll end there. And what happens next? What's next in the schedule?
Actually, the schedule was supposed to be till 5, but we are thinking that taking a little break now, and then the next is Nama Yagya. So
what happens next is a break, and then what?
And then Nama Yagya.
What time?
So we were discussing 5:30 to 6:30 since devotees have been going on. I think Premadhatri Mataji also suggested we can do little snack break for everyone now.
So we get back together again at
5:30.
5:30.
5:30 to 6:30 will be Nama Yagya.
Are you sure? Because it's now 4:15. You say a little break, that means an hour and 15-minute little break.
So we can do 5 o'clock then. Yeah. Shatrupa Mataji will start at 5 o'clock. Nama Yagya till 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
And 6:30 will be Maharaj's class.
Okay. Haribol.
Haribol.
Prabhupada ki. Jai.